And showtime. Welcome to the ChannelPro 5-Minute Roundup, a look at news, trends, and tips for the SMB channel in just 5 minutes or thereabouts. I'm Rich Freeman, ChannelPro's executive editor. As always, with me is my co-host, Eric Simpson, who is Senior Vice President and CIO of SPC International, a business improvement and training organization for MSPs and solution providers. Eric, how you doing today?
Pretty fantastic, Rich. How about you?
Good. I'm doing very well. Glad to hear you're doing well. Also, we are both at home for a change.
Very unusual.
And it will not happen next week, at least on my end. But we're loving it for now. Well, let's dive into our top story of the week here. It's actually been kind of a slow news week from my perspective, but there was an interesting announcement earlier on in the week from Salesforce. They have launched the first of what sounds like it's going to be a bigger series of solutions specifically for small businesses. They're calling it Salesforce Essentials for Small Business. The first two solutions are a sales-oriented one and a customer service-oriented solution. They're both tied into the Salesforce Einstein artificial intelligence platform, which enables you and your customers to do some interesting things in terms of auto-populating data on forms and stuff of that sort. They go for $25 per user per month, which seems like a pretty reasonable price. So they, are worth taking a look at if you're doing business with Microsoft and using some of their Dynamics 365 stuff now. But anytime Salesforce makes an announcement like this, I always think about it a little bit because they've got an enormous partner channel, but they are not the first name that you think of when you think about the SMB channel. They don't have the same kind of footprint or presence among our readers that Microsoft does, for example.
Yeah, in our industry, it is a little unusual to see the majority of providers using Salesforce as their sales tool. Now, we work with all types of partners, and the more, I would say, the larger partners, the more advanced partners, we do see them shifting more to a Salesforce model because it is a purpose-built sales solution for them. So, the folks that we're used to working with on the smaller side are leveraging their PSA solutions built in sales CRM functions. So, and the PSA solution vendors have done a great job of trying to keep all of their partners within that ecosystem. But I think that, being the Swiss Army knife, having a lot of blades, sometimes, you need a really super sharp blade to really take you to the next level. So I'm interested to see the adoption for Salesforce. I know that SPC, we used it for a while and it was just very, very costly. So I'm sure that this new price point and the new feature set will probably be appealing to a lot more of our partners now that they brought that cost down.
And of course, the interesting thing about that price point is that it, at least in the press release, is publicly listed. So, I mean, it kind of raises some interesting questions about the margin that a solution provider or an MSP can attach to this. They can bundle it into a larger managed services offering and sort of hide that price point. But I wonder how profitable a solution this is.
Well, you make me think of another opportunity, right? Is for them to become Salesforce resellers and also resell that now to their customer base. So I think there's benefit on both sides of the coin there.
Well, speaking about benefits and MSPs, it's time for your tip of the week. What do you got?
Well, this week's tip of the week, Rich, is all about raising our prices. I'd like our listeners and viewers to think about what their strategy is for raising prices. As I mentioned, we work with a lot of partners and a lot of them don't have a strategy. So I recommend raising your rates yearly. Yes, you heard me right, yearly, even if it is a small 3%, 4%, or 5%, just to keep up with the cost of inflation and other things. I think our partners, business customers will understand that things go up and just make that a normal yearly annual event. The price increase is going to be X%. And also, if you're writing long-term managed service agreements, put a clause in your agreement that allows you to raise those rates on a yearly basis. So for instance, if you're writing a 3-year agreement, have a clause in it that says we reserve the right to raise our rates not to exceed X% after yearly review. And I'm not talking about raising rates when you're adding users or doing more work. That's expected. But I'm talking about a yearly price increase, so that there's one day every year where you're increasing the value of your organization automatically when that price increase goes out.
I've spoken to a lot of MSPs who haven't raised their prices in years. And at the other end of the spectrum, I've spoken to a fair number of MSPs who do raise their prices regularly. And sort of to the point you were just making, they actually have a clause in their contract that says the rates will go up. It's not even like reserving the right.
Mm-hmm.
Rates will go up a minimum of X% annually on thus and such a date. It's just built into the deal.
Yep, absolutely.
Well, great. Don't be afraid to raise your rates, folks. That is Erick's tip of the week. And we've got time for one more story here on the 5-Minute Roundup. Now, I am not a big college hoops guy. I don't know about you, Erick, but March Madness is underway as we record this show for the week here. And finally, Adobe has come up with an application for big data that really gets some value out of that technology. They have provided something that they're calling Hack the Bracket using their Adobe Analytics tool. It's online. You can find it at Hack the Bracket, and actually get in there and get some really hardcore data-rich number crunching goodness from Adobe on how to fill out your bracket, along apparently with tens of millions of other people who are going to be looking at the exact same data. But it is, even if you're like me and you're not a huge college basketball fan, it is actually kind of fun to play around with and just sort of scratch your head and try to figure out why this system believes number 4 Arizona actually has a much, much better chance of defeating number 4 Gonzaga than number 6 TCU.
Yes, I can just anticipate, the release of the other versions for all of the other sports that we are all consumers of and viewers of as well. Hack the Super Bowl or hack, etc.
Right, and we won't even need to watch the games anymore after a while, because we're already going to know, thanks to big data, who's won.
Interesting. And our AI will tell us just by asking it as we walk by it every day, right?
That's right. All right. Well, thank you very much for watching, folks. That's our show for this week. If you'd like to keep up with this program and watch future episodes, subscribe to the ChannelPro Network channel on YouTube. For more great content from ChannelPro, I encourage you to visit the ChannelPro website at www.channelpronetwork.com. For more information about Erick and SPC International, go to consulting.spc-intl.com. That's consulting.spc-intl.com. Until next week, that is our show. Enjoy the rest of your week. We are enjoying the rest of your week already.